Hello, good afternoon. It's my pleasure to presentation. Thank you to Rector of Diponegoro University and crew of ICTMHS 2021 to give permission. I am Via Isasmita from FAI Bayu Antas team. I will presentation our PowerPoint about patient claim financing at RSUB Dr. Karyadi, Semarang during the COVID-19 pandemic. Introduction. Cases of coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 show a tendency to increase and spread rapidly throughout Indonesia, or Ministry of Health 2020-2021. Challenge of hospital in COVID-19 situation, Parch et al. 2020 and Patria Jati et al. 2020. For method, a phenomenological approach used in descriptive qualitative research, sources of primary data. The purpose is sampling or criterion-based selection was used to the quotations that the primary research information or the informants. Interviews is methods for gathering data. Source triangulation is used for data triangulation. Data analysis using flow model of analysis and interactive analysis model. For results, informants for research information. AU1 for case mix coding coordinator. AU2 the nurse coordinator of the COVID-19 handling room, 81 the head of medical record unit, 82 the head of the hospital COVID-19 handling task force. One, patient registration procedure. And this is AU1 for response. Patients who come to the hospital must be clear at the beginning. AU2 for response. The procedure flow for patients from admission to hospitalization and discharge is still the same. It just that for inpatients, a rapid antigen is needed at Dr. RSUB Karyadi. AT1 for response. The procedure flow is still the same, but there is a fundamental difference, namely the COVID test on patients who will be hospitalized, it will automatically add the medical record file. AT2 for response. Patient care procedure at Dr. RSUB Karyadi is still the same. The only difference is that he is hospitalized added with a swab test and other supporting tests. 2. The flow of care for patients who come through the outpatient installation or ARGIL or emergency room or AGD is a referral from a type DC or B hospital or PPK1 or PPK2 with a primary diagnosis of not COVID-19 or comorbid or coincident convincing and enforcement of the main diagnosis code. This is AU1 response for the guideline in the service of establishing COVID diagnosis where there are comorbid and coincident disease is PMK 446 of 2020 is a rule where it is enforced that the patients being treated are COVID and non-COVID patients, even though there are conditions that accompany the disease. AU2 for response. Nurses don't have a problem with the flow of the medical record procedure. The point is that patients under the will be treated must be screened for COVID first. AU1 for response. Enforcement of the primary diagnosis code and secondary diagnosis. Always pay attention to the patient's medical research. AT2 for response. I am the coordinator of the task force. I have provided and socialized to all medical service providers, therefore rating the main medical diagnosis for patients who are confident to have COVID and where the patient also has comorbidities. The first thing to deal with is the COVID, but the comorbid drugs are still given in accordance with what is written in the proclamation. 3. The process of screening patients who enter his hospital with indication of COVID-19 and with comorbid diseases and are coincident in patients and outpatient services. AU1 for response. The screening process was already running as mentioned above for conditions where the claim process for COVID and non-COVID is clear from PMK 446 or 2020 as well. AU2 for response. The point of patient care is to follow medical instruction if the patient comes in with various complaints, such as comorbid or coincident. In principle, what is the most urgent? The treatment is carried out there. 81 for response. For the problem of enforcing coding in such cases, it is also based on what was written and made by the doctor. 82 for response. To determine this patient, the main thing for the diagnosis is whether it is COVID or it's comorbid or coincident based on data obtained by doctors in the ER or polyclinic regarding the patient's signs and symptoms. Claims of patient admitted through the ER. AU1 for response. Claims follows with AU2 for response. For claims issues, nurses have no authority at all. AG1 response. The claim issue has been resolved by the coder and case mix session. AG2 for response. For claims, we already have a team. 5. Input patient's claims. AU1 for response. The problem of inputting claims using the previously described system. AU2 for response. Nurses do not do this. All nursing action activities on patients are in one GRM, but electronic DRM and or manual DRM. 81 for response. Inputting claims follows the patient's DRM or patient's condition and different guarantors. 82 for response. It is very clear that the patient's conditions come first. 6. Continuation of the claim process with process related to the amount of claims. AU1 for response. The problem with disbursing claims is the intelligence and skill of the case mix or friends who have duties in the claim section. AU2 for response. The problem of profit and loss claims. Nurses have nothing to do with it. 81 for response. Profits and losses are relative, but in daily life for those who take care of the claim section, the most important thing is to provide services according to the rules and patients can be served perfectly. 82 for response. The problem of claim losses has never been a barrier. 7. The amount of claims for patients. AU1 for response. The amount varies depending on the patient's case. AU2 for response. Not yet. 81 for response. Not yet. 82 for response. Not yet. 8. The ongoing COVID-19 claim process. That there is a standard rule that always changes according to conditions. AU1 for response. Assistance from outside the government philanthropy party will reduce the claim factor for COVID cases. AU2 for response. We nurses don't know that. 81 for response. The assistance will reduce the claim factor for COVID-19 cases. It's already in the system. 82 for response. The assistance reduces as long as it is recorded. 9. Procedure flow for medical record data service in patient installation. AU1 for response. There will be no difference in claims. AU2 for response. Nursing data is also clearly written in the patient's GRM and all data is recorded as one. It 1 for response. The data has been recorded as one, so it is impossible to shift and affect the claim. 82 for response. All data on comorbid or coincident patients are clear. 10. Cases circulating in the community are related to patients. AU1 for response. That's a matter of media. Not so. AU2 for response. That's not the case with the media. AT1 for response. It's a media issue. Things that happen in the hospital are not like that. AT2 for response. The doctor has explained the details. Patients who visit the hospital have an initial screening to test the symptoms of COVID-19 on visitor. AU1 for response. Yes, it is mandatory which is on the web. COVID-19 tests and vaccines for officer. AU1, AU2, AT1, AT2 for response. Yes, there is, if the vaccine follows for the government. Discussion. COVID-19 service maintenance regulations. Regulation of the Minister of Health number 59 of 2016 concerning exemption of patient fees for certain emerging infectious disease. It is regulated in the Decree of Minister of Health of the Republic of Indonesia or KMK number 238 of 2020. The decision is a reference in the financing of COVID-19 services. Regulation is a measuring tool to ensure the verification process is accountable and transparent. To hospital claim regarding the high number of dispute cases. Other obstacles encountered in the implementation of claims include: 1. Unpreparedness of the Indonesian Ministry of Health dispute application. 2. The number of MOH dispute claim verifiers assigned to verify is very limited. 3. Problems that arise from the claim submission process from the hospital include unclear and or incomplete hospital medical resumes. 4. There is mismatch of understanding between the hospital and BPJS Health in determining the comorbid criteria. Conclusion. Patients COVID-19 with comorbidity or COVID-19 with coincident. If the case is a coincident, it will be entered twice because the guarantor is different. And thank you.